Israel is 5,690 miles away from the US, 11 hours by plane. Hate travels faster. In a comment, in a post, in a second. Jewish hate is up 388% in the US. Black hate, Muslim hate, and Asian hate are up too. When one hate rises, they all do. Let's stand up to all hate together. Share and wear the blue square from standuptojewishhate.org.
What's up, y'all? This is Neena Perez, and this is Straight Talk, No Sugar Added. And I know that you are here to listen to the best humans on the planet to grow, challenge, and transform your thinking. Let's do this. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce you to Avi Wolfson. I hope I said that right. He is amazing. I had an opportunity to speak with him last week, and it was just he's so nice, and he said so much great things to say. So I said, you have to come on my podcast again. Let's go. Let's do this. He's a licensed realtor, a professional salesperson. He's a 3-time axe thrower. So watch out, y'all. Okay. He is a best-selling author and inspirational professional speaker. His journey of overcoming childhood trauma and mental health challenges, coupled with his experience of resilience and entrepreneurship and self-discovery, has made him, at least to me, and I'm sure to many others, this beacon of inspiration. Now, he believes in the power of failure, and so do I, and paying forward positivity and helping people flourish in better positions. So brace yourselves, okay? We are going to have this amazing, engaging conversation with Avi, and a true champion of personal and professional growth. I am so stoked that you are here, Avi. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for that phenomenal intro, Neena. That was amazing.
You're welcome.
Super honored to be on your show, and just excited to speak with you and have a great conversation. And
me too. We're gonna have fun. We're gonna talk about some stuff, but we're gonna have fun. So, Avi, the way I always like to start my show, and I think you told me you heard a few of my episodes. So I always like to ask who you are, right? I always like people to kind of put themselves out there and tell us who they are, and then go from there. So, Avi, who are you? Who are you, Avi?
It's an interesting question. One of my friend's grandmothers, she said to me recently, every 10 years we change as a person. The person you were 10 years ago is not the same person. Our thinking has evolved. We've evolved as people. And so, I would say, reflecting back, I see my life as an underdog. I see myself as somebody who has struggled through a lot of things and persevered. And I think that the point of it is to help other people that were in my position, to help them improve their position to where they are, to getting to that next level. And life is a learning experience, and it's about connections. We're social beings, and putting ourselves in the right situations and the paths we choose all make a big impact where we end up ultimately.
Yeah, that's true. So then talk to us a little bit about where you've been, right? Because you said, people have been through what I've been through. So what is that? What is that you're referring to when you say what I've been through? Tell us about that.
Yeah, I've struggled with mental health for a long time, for most of my life, and a lot that's been a challenge for me. But through that, I've discovered a lot of pretty incredible things, and it's taken me on a really wonderful journey. I'm becoming a speaker. I also do sales for Bigly, which is a phenomenal CRM. And I also am a co-owner of All Star Parent, which is a parenting newsletter. And I have many, many more things. But the point is a big learning lesson here is, don't put your eggs in many different baskets. And not all of them are going to hatch, but some of them will. And the ones that do, you decide where to prioritize which ones that you nurture, which ones are closer to the top, which are most important to you. Maybe you put one to the side and come back to it later, revisit later, whatever that may be. I do a lot of different things, and I love that.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying to spread yourself too thin either, because I think that can be a bad thing, but it's about finding that happy medium. So when you ask me, what I'm doing, it's a lot of different things. And then there's that overcoming the mental health piece, right?
Right.
And that for me is like, how do I confront that? Because our childhood and that trauma that some of us, experience, it doesn't go away. It may
Right.
even be dormant. We're not just cognizant of it, but it can manifest itself in good or bad ways.
Mm-hmm.
So being aware of that and really confronting it instead of just like pushing it under the rug, and thinking that it will just disappear, because it doesn't.
It does.
Um, it doesn't, and it's important to confront those things. And what that looked like for me was really facing that and forgiving. Right? It's about letting go of like anger and forgiveness against things that happened in my past that I can't change. Right? That I need to
Right.
come to acceptance with, to be okay, so I can move forward and be
Mm-hmm.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that that's an important learning lesson for me. Um, and then just other ways too, like I looked into book publishing, and I started that journey in March of 2020, and that helped me confront my childhood in a healthy and
Mm,
positive way.
that's
And I was
good.
able to monetize it and help parents. So
Right.
it was like such a rewarding feeling to have that, and to see like what I created, and
Mm.
that was like really meaningful to me. So I think for each person that's different, but at the end of the day, we're all on that pyramid, and we're reaching for self-actualization. We should all be striving for that. Because the worst thing
Yeah.
that can happen is, right, we
Yeah.
spend our whole life doing the same thing over and over again,
Right.
expecting something different. I mean, that's
Right.
the
And
definition of
we
insanity.
spend a big, yeah, but we spend a lot of our lives in that insanity place, right? Like
Yeah.
constantly, like you said, suppressing it, not thinking about it, don't want to
Hmm.
go there. It hurts too much. And it does. I've been through a
Yeah.
lot of trauma as well. And are you, before I continue, are you comfortable with talking about it though? Are you comfortable with
Yeah,
talking about?
absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
So
I just want to
I
make sure
was,
before we touch
yeah,
on stuff.
of
Yeah.
course. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
All
I
right.
didn't know, I knew something was off when I was younger, but I didn't know what it was, but I felt something. And it wasn't until as I became a young adult, that I was diagnosed with major depressive disorder and a bipolar disorder type 1. And that was like really good for me, because all this time I didn't know that. And
Mm-hmm.
another misconception is those aren't excuses, those are responsibilities to
Mm-hmm.
work through those,
I
to work
love
extra
that.
hard, so
Mm-hmm.
I can better myself, right? And then people, because I know so many people, even like people close to me, that have been like, oh well, that's an excuse, you can't say that. What about all the other, all, this and that person, we all made excuses. And it's not the point. The point is
Right.
confronting it
Right.
and working through it. So like, the way I like to think of it is, depression has taught me gratitude for the people in life that make me happy,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
But we
Mm-hmm.
always look at depression, oh, that just makes you sad. Well, that's it's not true. Gives me a greater appreciation for the people that do make me happy.
That's right.
And
That's right.
bipolar disorder, when I feel down, or I have like negative energy or something, I've learned to channel that, because negative energy can be really powerful, but it can also be channeled into positive things.
Oh, that's
So
interesting. Tell me a little bit
yeah,
about that.
yeah, because I think a lot of it, right? Like so many of us, stress. We have all these different things, people, all these things we deal with in our life, and it's like, of course, we know not to be bitter. Like it's not a healthy thing to do, but we're human, and
Right.
so
Right.
these negative emotions do happen. And there's two way. There's like, obviously we need to have an outlet for that, which is like exercise or just having some other way. But for me, it's like, how do I take that because it's still strong energy. It's negative, but
Mm-hmm.
it's
Mm-hmm.
energy, and it's possible to channel that into something positive, making that choice. I'm not going to be angry about this. I'm going to take these feelings that are really strong, and I'm going to put this into this project instead.
Oh, that's
I'm going
powerful.
I'm going to take that anger with me and focus it into something that's going to benefit me, that's going to
It's a
do
choice.
good in the world. It's a choice.
So
And
you're
that,
saying in the middle of what you're going through, in the
mhm,
middle of that bipolar, I have family who has bipolar, so I understand, and I try to be very sensitive about that. Um, what I love what you're saying here is, yes, I'm going through this mental health challenge, right?
mhm,
And in the middle, I still have self awareness and make a decision to shift. That's what you're saying.
exactly. You
Wow,
nailed it.
that's good.
Exactly. Yeah, that's
Mm-hmm.
like a more recent thing within the
Mm-hmm.
past year or two. I never thought
Mm-hmm.
about it that way until I really reflected and pushed back. And I know that's another thing that we talked about too, was in being introverted versus extroverted.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so when we also talked about like Simon Sinek, love that guy and
Hmm.
his ideology. But yeah, it's I do a lot of deep reflection and thinking, which is a blessing and a curse, I guess. Right? Because it's like I do deep reflecting, but sometimes it's too deep to a point
Too deep.
I'm overthinking, I'm over analyzing,
Right.
and
Right.
that can really backfire. But
Right.
it can allow me to have really deep, meaningful connections with people too.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
the most important takeaway from that is we need to have that self-awareness. Because
That's
without
it.
that, there is no way to we're human. We all have things we need to work on. What are our strengths and weaknesses? But having the awareness to know what it is, right,
Right.
is like the most important thing. And
So
so,
true.
that's my focus is okay, what am I feeling right now? What is going on? Is this going to benefit me? No. So what am I going to do with that energy? Am I
Right.
going to keep being mad about it, or I'm going to take that and put it into this project or help this person or use it into something else? And it can be done. And it's not always
Hmm.
easy because it's a choice. And
Hmm.
and making that choice means that you're letting go of maybe some person or something that you're angry at. And that's not always easy to do because
That's
we
right.
are we are human, right? And we want to have resolution. But at the end of the day, there's some things that can't be changed. There's things that can't be undone.
Yeah.
So, being better about them it doesn't serve us any purpose. There's nothing good that comes from it. We have a finite resource, which is the most precious resource is time. So we don't want
Hmm.
to spend
Hmm.
any time wasting our most precious resource. So how
That's
are we going?
true.
It's not money. That's a misconception,
Oh
right?
yeah.
Money, yeah, it's
Oh
not.
yeah.
It's time.
Yeah. Yeah. And, I think about like celebrities that I've loved that have, taken their own lives and they were celebrities, right? Robin Williams comes to mind,
Yes, that's
right?
what I just thought of. Yeah.
And he was a comedian and he was
And what a
amazing.
it was such
Hmm.
a shock to me because
It was me
I
too.
couldn't I couldn't conceive like somebody at that level like Jerry Seinfeld, Bob
Hmm.
Williams. How could somebody that's so loved and so like because it's comedy, it's like
Adored.
you have adored and
Yeah.
like really deeply loved by the
Yeah.
entire world. How it could be even conceivable that he could be depressed or want to not live anymore. It's just like it was so beyond me. It was just I think so
Yeah.
many people felt that way,
Yeah.
myself included. And it just makes such a good point to you don't know what somebody's going
Going
through,
through. That's right.
and with mental health especially and stigmatism, it can't be seen and it can't be shown yet. i,
Hmm.
I think
Hmm.
that in the future it will be able to be shown, like a
Hmm.
broken arm or a broken leg, because it's not much different. And these things are real, but we have people, and maybe it's older generations, I don't know, but there's like, oh, just work harder, just toughen it out. I mean, if you had a broken leg and somebody said go for a jog, you'd look at them like they're crazy, like
Right.
you see, there's something broken here. And it's like, okay, so like, how do we work on that, right? How do
Yeah.
we heal that? How do we recognize that and not dehumanize people because of a medical condition?
Right.
Um,
Well, to your point, right? It's a medical condition that can't be seen. It's also, like interesting from what you said earlier too. Like people say that it's an excuse is an excuse. I think it goes both ways, right, Avi? Because I think that it is a real thing. I used to suffer with depression, so and I say used to because I really don't anymore. But I used to suffer with depression, and because I had a lot of trauma in my life and stuff. I wasn't, I didn't do the self awareness work. I wasn't about personal development at that time, so a lot of it was a victim mentality, which also kept me depressed. But I realized also that you said two things because you said earlier how people said that's an excuse, right? And I will be honest that I sometimes people do use it as an excuse. I did, right?
mhm,
I used it as an excuse to feel like a victim. I used it as an excuse to maybe get more attention from my husband. So
mhm,
it
mhm.
is both ways, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think you make a great point. And I think that there's two things, right? Giving people the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
And secondly, the boy who cried wolf, right? So, like, if you are
Yeah.
really legitimately, I'm not going to say you, but some person is using that, like, and they're like, oh, I can manipulate people to benefit me, so I could just use this as an excuse to get through life, right?
Right.
That's going to eventually be found out,
Mm-hmm.
because
Mm-hmm.
it's gonna that patterns are like, wait, you're not really trying. Like, you've got everything you need, you're doing treatment, you're getting therapy, but like, you're still saying that, like,
Mm-hmm.
if you're doing all the things you should be doing, the condition should improve. Like, I take medication,
Right.
and I'm
Right.
very upfront and honest, because I don't like having to do it, but I know that I'm better off with it than
Right.
than
Right.
not. But it's something that I'm honest with. But if we're not honest with it, then I agree with you absolutely. Then it does become an excuse, and um,
It still
what they
goes
say,
back to self-awareness, doesn't it?
it does. Yeah,
It still goes back. Yeah, it all
it
ties
all
back.
it all ties back. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's benefit of the doubt, but you're right. There are people, unfortunately, that do that. There are people that will walk around with a broken leg pretending, and they don't actually have anything broken, and that's a real disgrace and insult to people that are actually
Yeah. Yeah.
injured. So it's
And that's what
unf-
hurts. That's what hurts people in the mental health space,
it
you
is
know?
it is
But
gets a bad rep.
it does get a bad rap, but and I'm glad we're talking about it because I think mental health right now is at a rise, as you know, and some of it I think is groupthink. Groupthink. I think some of it is
Yes,
definitely groupthink because there's a lot of
100%.
social media out there,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
because there's a lot of social media, and some people I think that people because they're maybe people who want to empathize with that person also take the condition as if they have it too. You know what I mean? Like it because so
Yeah,
now
and
it's a
it's not
group
it's not
thing
good.
thing. Exactly. Not all of you have the same condition. That's not true. You
I'm I'm
know?
I'm
Yeah.
very anti-group think. I think
Yeah.
it's
Me
so
too.
commonplace. And when you're in that group think, right, and you're part of it, you don't think about it because everybody's just agreeing with each other. It's like,
Right.
oh yeah, yeah, like this is normal. So
Right.
you need somebody from the outside looking in to say, you guys are nuts. You're all saying
Right.
yes. Like, do you hear yourselves? Like,
Right.
have you
Right.
ever considered an outside perspective? Like,
Right. Right. There
um,
was a,
so
going towards that, there was a phenomenon that was I was reading about maybe like 6, 7 months ago of teen girls who were twitching. Right. And so they were doing like this study, like, why are all of these teens like like they're having twitching problems? And they were like, oh, it's TikTok. And there was like something going on with TikTok and seeing things too. And then because one girl started twitching, like other women seeing that with or other girls seeing it with twitching. I'm like,
yes,
see that? So you have to be careful with that.
yes.
But mental health, everyone, is a real thing. And I know that a lot of you are going through that. And that's why I thought this conversation was going to be really important with Avi today, because he's the real thing. And he's telling you that he, even in the midst of going through maybe a bipolar moment or a part of when he's feeling really dark or whatever that is, he takes that opportunity to take the energy that's associated with that, and saying, what am I going to do with this? Now, I also, and maybe you can talk to this a little bit too, Avi, is I also feel like a lot of times we can sit in it to transcend it, not to let it overcome us and keep us there, but to transcend that feeling. Like when I feel anxiety, I feel it immediately in my chest area, my neck.
Mhm,
And
mhm,
as soon as
mhm.
I feel, I'm like, okay, we're gonna sit here with this for a sec. You're gonna go through this, feel this anxiety, like I
Mhm.
acknowledge it.
Yeah.
I won't let it take me to the point where it used to, where I used to have to like get up and like kind of like run out of the house because I felt
Mhm,
so anxious. But there's and like you said before, there is a point where you have to say, is this taking me too dark,
mhm.
or am I able to transcend this? Do you ever do that, where you sit in it for a second just to kind of like acknowledge it? Or
Oh
tell me
yeah,
about that.
even
Okay.
for more than a second.
Hmm.
You know, it's important to go through that. And
Yeah.
the best example or analogy I can make to that would be like grieving somebody passes, right?
Yeah.
You don't just say like, oh, get over it. Like you got a week,
Right.
get over it. There are like,
Hey there, my amazing community of straight talkers. I just wanted to give a quick announcement because I wanted to introduce you to a transformative life coaching program that I have made exclusively for women. I want them to break free from shame and embrace their true potential so that they can build that life and business that they have always wanted. Now, our transformational coaching will guide you. We will help you. We will uncover your passion, your goals, and will develop your roadmap to success. Visit me at neenaperez.com and you can join an amazing community of women that are on the same trajectory as you, because I want you to create that life and business you deserve and transcend that shame and unwanted behaviors. So don't wait any longer. Visit neenaperez.com and let's embark on this journey together. Now back to the show.
I don't know. I've seen different things like 2 years is normal, but like there is no set date.
Right.
When you tell somebody you need to get over this person that's no longer in your life because you have to move on to, who is somebody to tell that to you? Like it's different for each person. So you just like that, it's very similar in like we have to sit with this and process it, because not doing that is detrimental, right?
Right.
Um, these are tough and difficult things, and we definitely have to sit with it for a little bit, have some time, whether that looks like therapy or just reaching out to somebody you trust and are comfortable with
I love
speaking.
that. Yeah.
That's so important. That's been
Yeah.
really healing for me.
So
You know, something
important.
something I didn't realize until um well after when I've done therapy for most of my life, but so I didn't realize just the power of being heard, right? Even if it doesn't make your problems go away or fix it, just being heard and validated is extremely healing. Um, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Just to have somebody hear you,
Community
that
is important. Yeah.
it
Yeah.
is. And I think
Because you're
there's a
not
huge,
alone.
yeah, you're not alone. We're not supposed to be alone. Humans weren't
Right.
designed to be alone. We're
Right.
designed to live together, and that's
Mm-hmm.
normal, how it should be. And you know, good, peaks and valleys, good and bad times, but we have to. There are ways to work through it, and it's not the same for every person, but there's overlap in terms of the way we get through things.
Mm-hmm. So tell me about how you're using what you've been through now, like everything that you've been through and how you've learned to process and how you've learned to go forward. And I want to take our audience to that place that you are now. Like, what is it that you're doing now to impact the lives of others with everything you've been through?
Yeah, so the big thing that I'm working on right now is public speaking. I've been told for a large part of my life that I really inspire people, and they don't just say it; they actually mean it.
Mm-hmm.
And that to me is like when you want to find your calling in life, when you feel good about, like, amazing about something, like when somebody tells me that I've inspired them, there is no greater feeling in the world.
That's right.
So like that to me, and how I got there was actually through failure, a lot of failure, and that sucked a lot, that hurts a lot, but I needed that to happen,
Mm-hmm.
and being rejected a lot, and
Mm-hmm.
that hurt, and that was really painful, but I became a much stronger person than I ever thought or realized I was.
Right.
um, I'm much, much stronger, and I didn't realize that until I was like hurt so many times over, being kicked and stomped, and it's it's really kind of set me free in a way. I don't know how to explain it, but it's you know failure is part of the process of learning and achieving
For sure.
success, and through trial and error. Failure is never a setback,
No,
right?
it's
It's
necessary.
it's 100% necessary. It's how we
Mm-hmm.
learn. It's how we grow.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we wouldn't be able to recognize prime opportunities without it. So failure is really important.
Mm-hmm.
And it took a lot of that. And so going through all that and looking back, I'm like, wow, I really wish I had somebody like myself to look up to when I was younger, that
Mm-hmm. I love
felt that
that.
that felt that way, that I had nobody
Mhm.
to look to, that I didn't have family or parents to look to help me get through that, because those things were non-existent. It was just like, deal with this, right? So
Mhm.
I had no outlet, I had nowhere to go, so I just sat with it and got through it with music and other unhealthy things. But that's in my past, and we're always trying to be the better person we were yesterday. So I found the thing, and I didn't know what I wanted to do for a long time. I didn't know that. I mean, I did always have in mind that I wanted to be a speaker, but
Right.
it wasn't until 2021 when one of my colleagues really pushed me was like, you can do this. And that was like the last like real push that I needed to do it. And I'm still working through it, but like I'm really determined. And when you want to do something and you should be doing it,
Yep.
pursue it relentlessly. And it doesn't have to be done in a set date or time. Just for me, it's so important to just like try to chip away at things, make forward progress. Break down goals into steps. Right. I think the best
Right.
way to put it, Walt Disney said, make a commitment and work towards it until you
Yep.
achieve it. All the
Yep.
adversity I've faced in my life, all my troubles and obstacles have strengthened me. And Greg Reed further reinforced that idea by saying, a dream written down with a date becomes a goal. A goal broken down into steps becomes a plan. A plan backed by action makes your dreams come true.
Yeah, I
And
love that.
yeah, so I think that's so important for each of us to really think about that, and just like whatever we're dealing with, to just try to have that self awareness and come up with a plan, whatever that plan may be, but just put something in place. Like, I can't tell you how many different medications I've been on in my life, just trying to feel okay about
Right.
myself and better. And that's been an ongoing thing, and it's fun. And I don't like talking about it because there's nothing glorifying about it, but it's not about me. I want to
Right.
help other people because I don't
Right.
want what I had to endure for some other kid too.
Right.
So, that's why I want to do this, why I want to be a speaker. I want to help people. And it's the thing that makes me the happiest in life. So, I would say to anybody, if you don't know what it is that you want to do, reach out, find a mentor, um, just try different things. The more you learn, the more you'll see, have different ideas for things to try. Surrounding ourselves with the right people is super important. That determines, which direction we go. I'm fortunate to have very good friends in my life that I'm really blessed to have. Um, and so, yeah, that's a little bit of my journey.
I mean, it's awesome, right? Because you've touched on quite a few things. You're touching on resilience now, right? You're touching on
yes,
resilience, but you talked about self-awareness. You talked about forgiveness. You talked about having a plan and a goal, right? And you talking
yes,
about resilience.
yes,
So like you got like a lot of like talking points and good talking points that you can really help people with. And you also mentioned in the beginning, you do a parenting newsletter,
yeah,
right? Yeah, what's
yeah.
that about? Tell me about
So
that.
it's a Substack newsletter. I'm one of the co-founders, and so basically, I'm a parent myself. I have a daughter, and so we all got really frustrated because there's just a ton of noise out there, right? And it's like
Mhm.
there's this book, there's that book, there's this expert. What kind of gentle parenting, positive parenting? What kind of parenting do I do? Where do I begin? It's
I
just
think
like
we talked about this too, because I said to you, I wish that God would have given us the baby, and instead of the placenta, a book pops out and tells us how to deal with this kid. Sorry, go ahead.
100%. No, 100. You're 100% on point about that. There is no official guidebook that comes with that. Right when the baby
For
comes,
real.
you got a crying kid. You've got limited time. It's like, just give me the damn information that I need to do this right, or as best or better than I'm doing now.
Right.
And that's where that All Star Parent was born out of. Right, it was born out of necessity to find the right information right away, from all the top parenting experts in the world. And so
Mm.
that newsletter is, we take all the authority figures that are the most well known and respected in the industry, and we send it out in a newsletter, and we cover all different kinds of topics: toddlers, teens, tweens,
Oh wow.
um, babies, all parenting topics. We cover them all. So that's one of my, I really, and it's so important to believe in what you're doing. Like, I really believe in it. I think this is
Yeah.
brilliant. The people that know about it, it's phenomenal. It's an amazing value. It's a free newsletter. Check it out. Subscribe. You'll love it. Or,
What's the name of it?
it's called All Star Parent, and we
Oh,
call the newsletter,
that's a
the
great
newsletter is called,
newsletter.
yeah, it's called the Catch Up by All Star Parent, and it goes out regularly. And just, yeah, our subscribers love it. It's just such a phenomenal resource. So that's been growing, something I'm really proud of and feel really good about, and parents love. And the other one too is that I also love sales. So Bigly Sales. If anybody that's trying to grow a business, this is amazing. So global companies only, like they can afford like to, you know, pay, tons and tons of money to Constant Contact for their database size, which is, you know,
Right.
hundreds of thousands, millions, whatever. But like smaller companies, like they can't afford that database size to pay those huge fees. So the advantage of Bigly Sales is that you only pay for what you use. You can send out unlimited texts, phone calls, emails. It's an amazing platform. It's super easy to use, and we've got a 24/7 staff that's ready to help at any point in time. So it's the best value. It's really amazing. It's such a great tool and platform for any small business or medium-sized business owner, even bigger
Mhm.
businesses. I mean, it's just you only pay for what you use. It's really great value. So that
Is
is
it
something
like
I'm
to
very proud.
capture people's info, or is it like a
It,
lead magnet type of thing, or what is it?
we have landing pages, so you
Oh,
can use
okay.
it for that as well. But it's more of a place like if you want to send out text messages, like
Oh, okay.
text is great because it's like a 98% open rate. So if you
Right.
want to just send like 1,000 texts to your subscribers, like you can just do it from there. And then anything that happens, people text you, call you, leave you a voicemail. It all goes in one place in this central
Oh, it's
location in
interesting.
Big Lisa. It's really cool. So yeah, I would. That's something I'm really proud of to be a part. It's amazing, and we're developing out new features all the time. We have a full development team, so that is really really huge and exciting.
That
Um,
is.
and then and then the last thing that I'm really just focused on, right? I talked about my eggs before, so those are the
Yeah,
two
yeah.
that
Give
are
me give me all those
that are.
baskets you got going on.
Okay, so my basket is made of three: All-Star Parent, Bigly Sales, and the last one is public speaking.
Yeah.
So those are my three, and I have more things, right? Because we hear about people, they just they retire and they watch TV and then they get Alzheimer's, and it's like, why do these things happen? It's because we're not doing anything with our
Using our
brains.
brain.
So we're
Yeah.
not using our brain, and like it's really unfortunate, but I feel like these things can be prevented. And for me, that means staying busy. And not only that, it keeps me happier. Well,
Mhm.
sometimes stressed, but that's okay, right? Stress with happiness is good, as long as I'm not just like doing absolutely nothing. Like that's just really
Right.
bad for me. And that also
Right.
lets bad thoughts come in. And like if I'm busy, I'm doing something productive. It makes me feel good. So
Yeah.
those are my top three, and
Well,
I'm in a
tell
really
me,
good.
who is your audience for the public speaking?
So
What are
for the
you trying
public
to
speaking,
who are you reaching? Yeah.
so yeah, I help losers discover the champion within themselves, and that's how
Oh.
how I felt for most of my life. And
Yeah,
I say
that's good
loser.
though, because that's catchy. Somebody sees that, they're like, "What? Who you
Yeah,
calling a
no.
loser?" You know?
Oh no, I told one of my friends, he's like, I don't like that. I'm
Right,
like,
right.
it's not what you think. It's like
Right,
it can
right.
mean
No.
it can mean
But
that
the
you lost.
person knows, right.
Yes, because that's
Yes, the
how
person you're speaking to knows. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and the way it makes more sense when I actually start off my talk. I
Yeah.
talk about when in my life um, I felt like I was that person and how
Right.
I overcame that later in life.
Right.
So like it's about it does trigger people, right? But
Yeah.
that's the point
That's
of
the
it, right?
point.
That's
Right.
the point. You get it. Okay.
Yeah, I get
So,
it.
but so the people that the audiences that I speak to, people that are struggling to succeed in business, people that are struggling with mental health, and people that don't believe in themselves, all things that I personally have struggled with and have overcome and
That's
want to help
awesome.
other people overcome. And I'm blessed to be in two amazing speaker communities where I've met some incredible people, and in addition to my friends, and yeah, I'm just and I've put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into this, and I'm just very excited to really make an impact
That's
and do
awesome.
a lot of good. Yeah,
I'm glad we met too, because it's going to give me an opportunity to follow you and make sure that, not make sure, but to make sure that I catch up with what you're doing out there, because, you're
absolutely.
talking about real deep, real things, and things that people need to hear about. I love the loser thing. I think that's going to be your catch there.
Yes.
But I think it's, this is what my show is about, right? It's about talking to people who are taking their obstacles and things that they have gone through in their life, and just showing people you can shift this. There is a way to shift. And we don't
Yes.
have to be, victims of our circumstances. I know that we didn't touch too much on the forgiveness piece,
Mhm.
but forgiveness is huge. And I talk a lot about forgiveness, because when you are not forgiving, you're the one that's hurting yourself. You're not hurting anybody else but you. You stop you. right? Go ahead.
A
You were going to
prison,
say
a
something.
prisoner, a great quote. A prisoner. Sorry, it goes. To forgive someone is to set a prisoner free and discover that person was you all along.
Right. Right.
So,
And
I don't
forgiveness
like.
is huge. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's such a powerful feeling, right? That it can be like really bad, and it can be really hard. And I
Hmm.
say that from my own experience, but it is so important to be able to. We only have a limited time, and uh, it shouldn't be being bitter. It
Hmm.
doesn't. There is no benefit. It's like
There's no
it's like
benefit.
it's
Zero.
it's like it's like jealousy. It's just these behaviors are just unhealthy. Nothing good comes from them.
Right. Right.
So getting
The
away
choices
from
too. Again,
their choice.
forgiveness is a choice. And that's the thing I always talk about too. Like, I think people are under the misconception that when you forgive, it's going to be like flowers and roses
No,
bloom everywhere. No, no. You're
not
still going
cup.
to be
No,
pissed off. You're still
yeah,
uncomfortable. You're
yeah.
still
It's not
mad about stuff.
not all
Yeah.
cupcakes and roses.
Right, right, right. But
Yeah,
forgiveness is important and it is a choice. You choose to forgive and then you go and you do it. You just forgive and go. I always say, like my stepfather used to abuse me when I was younger. So, he was one of the hardest ones to forgive. But when I did, the release was incredible. And I also realized I don't need to go have coffee with this man. I just need to release and go. And that's it. And my whole life started thriving from that point, and
that's amazing because
it is.
that seems to me as something that I don't know that I could forgive. It's
Right.
incredible to me that you did and how it positively affected you. I wasn't expecting that, or I wouldn't have
Yeah.
thought that that would have happened.
Oh, yeah, and
Um,
the thing is like, but how long do you stay in it, Avi, right? Like,
yeah, yeah,
when
yeah.
people read my book, they were saying, "How in the world did you even speak to some of these people?" I'm like, and they're like, one person, I believe in God, and one person said to
Mm,
me, "How in the world can you believe in God?" I said, "How in the world could I not believe in God?" Because for me, it was what gave me the strength to move forward.
yeah,
Not everybody believes I'm
yeah,
completely fine with that, but I do.
yeah.
And that was one of the shifts in my life too, was realizing I'm not alone out there.
Mm,
I have people like you too who understand mental health and who also want to help other people. So obviously we have this in common. There's a
yeah.
connection.
Oh,
And I
we do.
think, yeah, yeah. And I think people who are listening, because the reason they listen to Straight Talk is for that reason, because they're trying to find connection, you know?
Yeah,
So
that's really wonderful. Yeah, I think
I'm
that's so
glad you're
important.
here. Thank you for
Like,
coming on
I
and
so
sharing
appreciate it.
and being transparent and real. I freaking love that. So, Avi, thank you for being
Likewise.
and hanging out with us. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Nina. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. All right, guys, you heard him here. I told you were going to love him. I mean, hello, he's on Straight Talk. So make sure that you go and follow him. And we didn't talk about that. Avi, you have to let us know what we do here. Like, where do we
You
follow
can.
you? All that.
I'm mostly on LinkedIn. You can find me
Okay.
there. I'm just Avi Wolfson. Uh, yeah, that's the place where you'll find me.
And then the
Where I do
parenting was
the
what?
parenting is All Star Parent. So it's
Right.
substack.allstarparent.com.
Okay. And then for the CRM, they could just contact you and then you would guide them through that, right?
Yep, they can just
Okay.
contact me, or they could even go to bigleysales.com. And if somebody's interested in talking to me as a speaker, it's just my name, aviwolfson.com.
Okay, perfect. And Bigley is Bigly?
GLYSALES.com.
Oh, okay.
Bigleysales.com. Yeah.
Awesome. Hey guys, thank you so much for listening. You are the best. Okay. I have the best podcasting community ever. I really do. And I appreciate you guys being on here. Make sure you go on to winject.com/register, winject.com/register, and register for my free community, because I want to be really connected with you, and I want us to brainstorm and be with each other and connect in a deeper way. If you are looking for coaching, please make sure that you also email me at hello@straighttalknosugaradded.com. I work with women and I help them develop that business that they are envisioning in their hearts so that they can win. Thank you guys so much for being here. Love you, love you, love you. This is Neena Perez, Straight Talk, No Sugar Added. Until next time.
Jake Knapp is the inventor of the design sprint and the New York Times bestselling author of the book Sprint. He's also the co-founder of Character, a venture fund for early stage startups. How and why did you start using Miro?
I came from this position of thinking, I don't want to be doing stuff online, to thinking now when I do a sprint in person with a company, it's like, we're going to use Miro, even though we're all in the same room, because that's a better way for us to get this work done. As an investor, we're basically investing in their ability to solve problems. We're saying, we think this group of people is going to be able to solve a problem in a really great way and create value by doing it. And actually, you need to give people the tools that can help them make decisions, help them collaborate, help them visualize and see things in a different way. And Miro does all those things. So to me, at least as an investor, I'm thinking, give the team the tools that are going to help them think, that are going to make the most, brighten their skills as smart folks. And Miro is at the top of that list for me.